Hi, welcome to the session of UiPath Orchestrator web series episode 2. Last session, due to the technical difficulties and technical issues, we could not record the live session. However, this is a session which I am planning to take again in order to give entire brief of what we have covered in our episode 2. So I welcome you all and let's get started. So this is a revision session for UiPath Orchestrator web series episode 2. Now, what is UiPath Orchestrator? Let's get started with that before we jump on to the actual topics. So UiPath Orchestrator is the heart of your automation management. It gives you the power to provision, deploy, trigger, monitor, measure, track, and ensure the security of every robot in your organization. Now, Orchestrator is really a necessary component in entire framework of UiPath. And Orchestrator features are really awesome and great, where you can go ahead and do a lot of things which can make your life easy. Now we are going through these particular points and topics which we are getting, we are going to cover in UiPath Orchestrator. Now as per the part of UiPath Orchestrator, we have assets. Now all we know that there are 4 different data types of assets, because assets comes with only string, boolean, integer, and credential type of assets. However, what are the 2 types of assets? So the 2 types of assets, or 2 ways in which asset can be used, are global value and value per robot. Now let's not get confused. So I'll show you a demonstration. Let's go to the orchestrator. As this is my orchestrator, as you can see. Let's go to assets. So assets you can find under automations folder. Click on assets. And let's say create a new asset. Now it is taking some time. So I clicked on create a new asset. And as you can see, there are 4 different data types of assets, which is text, boolean, integer, and credential. However, as you can see here, there's a global value. So if you write a value of an asset, let's say www.amazon.in as the URL AMZ, a text type of asset. And if you create it, all the robots which will execute processes, and the process which includes the asset which is utilizing this particular asset, will be using this value while execution. However, if you want to change value per robot, then you simply have to click here on the plus button, select a robot of your choice. Now I have only 1 robot provision, so I'll select the robot and I'll change the value. So in case of www.amazon.in, I just mentioned www.amazon.com. So for this robot nature, whenever a process is going to execute with a robot nature, the asset which will be utilized inside the process will be using this value and not the global value. So this is the main difference between value per robot and the global value provision of the assets. So you can give different values to the multiple robots. Now, what is exactly idea behind this? The idea behind this is that if you're using a workflow, if you have created a workflow and if you're using multiple assets in this particular workflow, and those assets contain really important values such as URLs and the passwords and credentials, then these assets should utilize the values, the asset name should not be changed within the workflow. Now, for example, if I have to give you an example, let's say a development environment, a testing environment, and a production environment. If in a development environment, if I'm using particular asset and I have built a solution, when I push from development to testing phase, I don't have to change my asset's name hard-coded inside my workflow or inside my studio workflow. So in order not to change the values of assets there, what I can do is I can just simply give specific robots the value, and I can use the asset with the value per robot feature, so that the robot which is utilizing for demonstration on the development environment will utilize only dev.amazon.in, and testing environment it will utilize only uat.amazon.in, while in the production environment, the production robot will utilize www.amazon.in. So in this way, you can utilize a particular asset with the value robots. Now, after this, we discussed that getting values of assets from UiPath Orchestrator is easy. We just have to utilize the get asset activity in UiPath Studio. However, while you're setting up asset value, Sometimes it will give you permission access error. Now, in order to solve this particular error, what you have to do is simply click on users, navigate to roles. In the role section, you have robots. Go to edit. And in the robot settings for the folder permission, you see there are asset edit, create, and delete options. So these will be mostly unchecked for you. You just have to check all these options. If you want to give all these permissions to a particular robot, and then simply update. That's it. That should do. And you are now ready to set values, or you can modify values of assets also from your UiPath Studio while you're executing a workflow. So this is what we have discussed during the assets. Now let's jump on to the next topic, which is triggers. Now, trigger earlier used to be called as schedulers because there was only functionality of a time trigger. Now there is new trigger functionality which is being added, which is a queue trigger. Now there are these two types of triggers. Let's first of all see what are these two types of triggers. So trigger is nothing but a functionality of a UiPath Orchestrator which provides for unattended types of robots where you can schedule a bot. Now scheduling can be of two types. So one is a time-based schedule and another is a transactional-based schedule. So in time-based schedule, you basically nothing but schedule your bot as per the specific time. For example, let's say I want to schedule this bot at 5 p.m. Every day it should execute at 5 p.m. So we can schedule the bot. However, in the queue trigger, you have a transactional-based execution where if a new transaction is added to queue, it will automatically trigger a process. So this is the main difference between the time trigger and the queue trigger. Now let's see what exactly this trigger look like and how I can create a trigger. So let's go to Orchestrator again. And this time I'll go to the automations trigger folder. I'll click on this plus button. And as you can see, there will be two options, time-based trigger and a queue-based trigger. Now in time trigger, as you can see, you just have to add the name of the time. So let's say time-based trigger. So let's say every day 8 a.m. You have to select a process. As of now, I don't have any process. So you just have to select a process, select job priority of a particular process. If you have input parameters, select the input values, and then you can actually select the time zone. Now, let's say if you are working in an Indian time zone, you want to execute this bot in an Indian time zone every day at the scheduled perfect time, you can utilize the time zone of India. Otherwise, if you're running this particular bot in a client time zone, you can select the time zone of a client. So it's that easy, as you can see. Now comes to the part of the schedule. Now you can schedule it every minute basis, every 30 minutes, or you can schedule it every hour, so like every 2.5 hours, or you can schedule it on the daily basis, every day at a specific time. You can schedule it on weekly basis where you can actually select Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I don't want to select Saturday and Sunday. And on these days, at what time you want to exactly run this particular bots. Then monthly basis. Now, every upcoming month, at what day and at what time you want to execute. So you can utilize the scheduler in specific way. If you go to the advanced section, there is a cron expression. So in last session, while we were discussing, SHRIPPAD gave us an idea of simplification of using cron expression. So you can just write cron expression maker, enter, and you can say cron maker video website. In this website, it is very easy to create a cron expression. You can just simply go weekly, say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday at, let's say, 6 a.m. in the morning. And you just say generate. And that's it. You get a cron expression here. Now you can copy this cron expression and utilize it here. It's that easy. Now, let's say you might have an idea that if I select a weekly basis scheduler, I just don't have to select Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, and Wednesday. What if there are holidays coming in between? Let's say it's Diwali time in India, or it's a Christmas time. So I have certain holidays which are coming in between on Tuesday and Thursday. So I don't want to execute my bots on that. So I want to create my own calendar. How do I do that? So for that, we have an option of non-working days calendar. As you can see, I have created a Diwali calendar. Now let's go and let's see where exactly can we create this particular calendar. So for that, we'll go to my profile. Yes. Sorry, we have to go to settings. In settings, we have to go to non-working days, and then simply you can create your own calendar. Now you just say click plus. Now there comes a new calendar. give it a name, let's say June B, and I'll select these are the days where I don't want to work apart from Saturday and Sunday. And I can actually select days in July, August, and September also. And once you select all these dates, you just simply say save. Otherwise, you can upload a CSV also with updated details. And let's say save. And once you save this particular calendar, you can actually go back to trigger. And trigger. And you can check whether a calendar which you have just created is displayed here. And you can select this calendar in order to make the proper selection of non-working days. Now there are two tabs under this which says stop job after and disable trigger add. So stop job after is nothing but a functionality or a feature where you get to stop your bot execution. Now there are two ways of stopping it. Either you stop it gracefully, for that you have a stop option, or you stop it abruptly, where you have a kill option. So gracefully means the bot will stop gracefully with the end closing the browsers and clearing all the data in the temp file. However, kill will stop the bot at a specific point of time in the execution. So this you can define, and you can define at what exactly time you want to stop the bot. So let's say bot has started execution at 6 o'clock and you want to stop it after half an hour. You can simply add it here 30 minutes, and that should do. Also disable trigger add. So you have scheduled a trigger. Now, when do you seek or when do you plan to disable this trigger? So you can give the date, let's say 30th of June at 1, I want to disable this particular trigger. This trigger automatically gets disabled at a specific amount of time. So that's it about the triggers. And for about queue triggers, we will be talking more in tomorrow's session, which we are taking on specific on queue, orchestrator queue. So stay tuned for this. Let's jump on to the next topic. So the next topic was about the UiPath Orchestrator types of robots. Yeah. So you might have thought about that there are only two types of robots, which is attended and unattended. However, there are 8 different types of robots in UiPath Orchestrator. Now, these 8 different types have their own specific range of working. Now, attended, Studio, Studio X, Studio Pro, and production robots these are all the robots which are attended types of robots. Unattended, non-production, and testing. These are all the robots which are unattended types of robots. Now, why there is a difference between all these robots then? Attended robot doesn't work in a scheduled mode, or it doesn't work on unattended mode. Attended robot has its own properties. It can be triggered only from robot tray or a manual trigger, or you can trigger it from command prompt also. Studio robot comes with your UiPath Studio, which is utilized mostly for the development purpose. Studio X robot is utilized mostly for the Studio X version, which comes with the UiPath Studio. Now, as of now, it is only in the licensed in the community edition where you can utilize this particular Studio X. Studio Pro robot is used mainly for the Studio Pro. Now there are 2 types of studios, which is Studio and Studio Pro. So you can utilize this bot for the development purpose while using the Studio Pro. Now production robot. Production robot is generally used for testing purpose on the production or a UAT testing. This type of robot is mostly attended robot. Now let's talk about unattended robots. So unattended robot is nothing but having all the functionality of unattended mode and also attended robot features also. So unattended robot has an additional feature which can be scheduled, which can be used which can be executed on any machine. And this is having more features than attended robots. So unattended robot can work without human being explicitly present, and attended robot needs a human intervention and human inputs to work forward. Now, non-production robot and testing are these 2 robots which are available in the testing environment. What is the difference in the non-production and testing? So non-production robot does all the work of unattended. However, it does not do the work of a testing or the testing purpose of a particular workflow. And testing type of robot does only testing type of workflow. It does not execute a workflow in unattended mode. It only performs testing of a particular workflow. So these are the classifications of all these 8 robots, and you can utilize them and you can use them in UiPath Orchestrator. Now for the unattended types of the robots, you need a computer machine name and password also of the machine, because in order to work without human, it needs a computer password also. However, it works with the connection which is established between orchestrator and the machine. So that's it about the UiPath Orchestrator robot types. So these are all the topics which we have covered in the session 2 of UiPath Orchestrator web series episode 2. So soon, tomorrow, we will be conducting a session where we will be covering and talking more about UiPath Orchestrator queues and how we can utilize UiPath Orchestrator queue trigger, how to utilize UiPath Orchestrator queues in RE framework. Thank you so much for watching this video. So this session is taken by, we all play for CRG group. So we have global footprint over the world. As you can see, we have customers across the world. We have these companies and organizations served in India, over 500 organizations we have served in India. You talk about consulting, telecom, manufacturing, government, retail, we are in everything. These are some images of the clients which we have dealt with. So these are the locations for CIG solutions in Mumbai, Pune, Gurgaon, and Bangalore, which you can contact. We offer under our serves where we serve for intelligent automation consulting, project deliveries, managed services, digital workforce review, change management, established COE, data analytics, training, and staff augmentation. Also at CRG, what are the 5 advantages why you should prefer CRG solutions is that because we provide you digital workforce appraisals, security assessment matrix, substantial COE, and change management and commitment to quality. So that's why CRG solutions. And definitely you will be paid in the future based on how well you work with your robots. So thank you so much for watching this video. For more details, contact me personally, and happy automation.